This video is sponsored by Surfshark, the best VPN on the market. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to change your location to access websites in other countries and keep you safe from hackers. For example, we here in Ireland can access other countries' Netflix libraries, streaming services such as DAZN in Spain for those all-important Premier League games. Surfshark keeps you safe and private by protecting everything you do online. When your device connects to the internet, all that information is, in a way, blurred out. Surfshark is particularly useful for keeping you safe if you use public Wi-Fi, such as a college or a cafe. Surfshark allows you to use one subscription on unlimited devices, meaning that you can even share an account with friends and family. On top of this, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you don't like it, you can even get your money back. Our sign-up offer gives you Surfshark VPN for just over €2 per month and up to 4 months free. Why not scan the QR code on screen or use the link in the description to take advantage of this offer. What is up, my friends? How are we? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda, where we have plenty to talk about. We still await the full extent of the injury for Alexander Isak, but I can give you the little bit of information that we do know. We'll be talking about Antoine Semenyo tonight as the race heats up for him. I'll be asking the question, should Liverpool bring back Harvey Elliott and use him for the second half of the season? And I'll have a little bit of a rant about journalists because, well, you know, wouldn't be one of my streams without me ranting about a journalist. Apologies, I was a couple of minutes late. Full disclosure, I was shaving my head. I was shaving my head. I forgot that it was a 8:30 start, so I was rushing around trying to get back in. So yeah, I do apologise that I was a couple of minutes late. And again, thank you for your patience. So we've plenty to go through today. Obviously, we know now we are sitting above Manchester United in the table as they were defeated by Aston Villa. We are level on points now with Chelsea, so it's just goal difference there. Bit of a chase down to look for the those ahead of us, though. You know, 10 points to Arsenal, so still a long way to go, but certainly looking a little bit better league table wise than we did when we were in 12th position a couple of weeks ago. But do you know what? I'm not going to sit here and say everything is perfect, because it isn't, and you guys know that as well. But like I've always said, a win is a win is a win, and I'm a happier person when Liverpool do win. So as much as yesterday was still concerning, I'll always take a victory, and I'm sure you guys are as well. Whatever it is you guys would like to discuss, of course, the floor is yours. Let me know tonight, and I'll do my best to get to it. Right. By the way, I've seen so many people slating Isak over the last 24 hours, particularly some Newcastle fans. And I just want to remind Newcastle fans of one thing. You are all perfectly within your rights to have whatever opinion you want on Isak. But you know the guy who scored the goal for you the other day in his first start, Johan Kiesa. Do I need to remind you that he went the exact same way Isak went to get to your club? And I don't see Brentford fans having rat burgers made up for Johan Kiesa or talking about him in the same way Newcastle fans are. There's supposed to be a fan base with class that know their football, and all I see is just petty, vindictive bullshit around the Isak situation, like it's a girlfriend that dumped him that they just can't get over. They're still so focused on what's happening with Isak, it's laughable. He's a Liverpool player now. Let us worry about the Isak future and situation, and you just concentrate on your own failing season. What else have we got? Hey Craig, how are you? Hope you and family are well. Keep up the good work. Thank you, William. Yeah, not great, mate, but chugging along, as they say, chugging along. Always happier when I'm on here chatting with you guys as well, and even more happy after the Reds pick up a victory, a much needed victory. But God, we made hard work of that one, didn't we? I was watching it back last night, and yeah, we really did make hard work of it. Charlie, how are we, bro? I'm going to Liverpool versus Wolves. Hopefully we win. Do you know what, Charlie? I would be very, 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 very confident we win that game, mate. Yeah, I think you've picked a banker. Now, I don't want to be the jinx. If it doesn't happen, don't be blaming me. But yeah, man, I'd be feeling confident if I was you going over to that game. Yeah, I just would. So enjoy it. Most importantly, my man, enjoy it. Newcastle fans suck. It's weird. Like, they seem to be obsessed with me a little bit as well. some of them, some Newcastle content creators that I've never heard of have done loads of videos about me just because I dared call them out on some of their bullshit. Like I said, it's weird they're still so fascinated with Isak when, they've got their own forwards. Thank you, Foxy. Appreciate you, my man. That Sesko is shite, said the real Johnny Sins. Even with him, I try to be fair and say, look, give him his time to settle into the league. I don't like any players being judged that quickly. The only problem I have with the Newcastle fans is the absolute blinding hypocrisy. The fact that Johan Visa did the exact same thing to get to their club that Isak did, Made it clear he wanted to move, made it clear he wasn't going to be playing or training, and apparently that's all tickety-boo. But when Isak did it and they got a record-breaking transfer fee for him, they're still so bitter about it. Why so bitter, Newcastle fans? Why not be happy? If we don't beat Wolves, genuinely get Slot on a plane to the Netherlands. So, can I start off with something I really, really, really need to get off my chest? Because I do really need to get this off my chest. I asked Connor to post something earlier on X because Anfield Edition posted something that made my blood boil. Now, it's nothing to do with Anfield Edition, by the way. It's a quote from James Pearce. Let me read you out this quote, and then let me tell you what I told Connor to write in relation to it. So the quote from James Pearce reads as follows. Those with short memories and little patience who were calling for change have been muted as Slot has breathed new life into a managerial reign which had veered so alarmingly off course. Let me read it again. Those with short memories and little patience who are calling for change have been muted as Slot has breathed new life into a managerial reign that had veered so alarmingly off course. Folks, this is why I'm done with the journalists that cover Liverpool Football Club. I had the height of respect for James Pearce as a guy, but now I'm quite simply getting sick of it all. So this is what I asked Connor to quote tweet to reply to that. Will there ever be a time that these journalists credit fans with an ounce of intelligence? This quote is simply bollocks and more sanctimonious drivel. Does he think this has been turned around? Does James Pearce think that what happened with Arne Slot and the levels that Liverpool Football Club fell to was in any way acceptable? But the more alarming part of this is, he seems to think that he's turned this around and that everything's fucking tickety-boo. We went life and death again yesterday at the end of a game with 9 men. These lads are absolute clowns, and I'm quite frankly sick of 2 aspects of them. One, saying stuff that patently isn't true, and the second part, and the part that winds me up the most, is the sanctimonious nature at which they talk down to other people. If you have something to say about Liverpool fans, or a particular subset of them, well then say who they are or shut the fuck up. Because quite frankly, him, Gorst, Doyle, and all the rest of them, who are just yes men and paid for mouthpieces, need to really start showing the fans, the fans that support the club they write for, how about a bit of fucking respect on those fans' name? Because anybody calling for Arne Slot to be fired had more than enough reason. Do I need to sit here and reel off the records that were broken? The back-to-back-to-back defeats by 3 goals. The laughing stock that we were at one point. And this absolute clown of a man still sits there, writes this shite to say that people have short memories. Hey James, here's a question for you. Remember the goalkeeper Liverpool weren't signing 4 days before we signed him, but yet you, the good company man, went out there to write your piece to say that Liverpool have no interest to bring in a goalkeeper, even though you, I, and every Liverpool fan on the planet knew we were bringing in Georgie Mamadashvili. If you want any type of credibility, then stop fucking talking down to the very people you want to read your work. You don't work for the club. You work for the Athletic, owned by the New York Times, paid for by subscription readers. Stop insulting them with the stupidity that you keep putting out. It's quite frankly embarrassing to call. There are journalists out there doing proper work, undercovering falsehoods in war zone countries. The point of a journalist is to expose the truth, not to be a paid fucking mouthpiece for failure. Because that's all that was under Arna, was failure. So it isn't people with short memories, James. It's people with standards, mate. Fucking standards. Sorry, rant over. But I'm done with them. I'm done with them. They just write this crap, talk down to fans, and then think we're all going to just sit back and go, oh, okay then. Let me ask you, does anybody in there, anybody whatsoever, think that this has been a masterclass and it's been turned around and that we have short memories and little patience? Little patience? Come on. That's right up there with the Echo boys saying Liverpool fans want to be like Chelsea and Man City fans. These lads are condescending arseholes. Vinny Bradshaw said, you're a proper helmet. But you're here watching me, Vinny. That's the funny part, bro. You're here watching me, remember that. Because that's all you can do, Vinny. Because you haven't got the balls to do what I do. Call me a helmet all you want, but either put up or shut up, you little bitch. Simple as that. I'm here every night, having my say. And all that you want to do, mate, is come in to have a pop because you want a little bit of relevancy. You want a little pat on the head. That's okay, my man. That's okay. Me a helmet all I want, but I'm the most watched Liverpool fan on the fucking planet. And that isn't up for debate, my friend. And why is that? Because I'm honest. And I call it as I see it. Not like these yes men who are bought and paid for. PR merchants. Elliot said most of our journalists are happy clappers. Look, the key is in the word journalism. That's the whole point of this. These people always write as if they're writing for the club. For the club. Not about the club. For the club. Remember, this is a paid piece on a website. It's absolute garbage. I don't know who they think that they're talking to. I don't know who they think that they're representing. But the sheer fucking sanctimonious nature of these lads blows my mind. Anyway, glad to get that off me chest early doors, folks, because I've been sitting on it all day and it's been winding me up because I quite simply couldn't believe that somebody wrote that and thinks that we're going to just swallow it. Tipperary said, was I happy with today's Aston Villa result? Yeah, it was a weird one because in one way United were beaten, which is always a good thing. But, Aston Villa are occupying the spot that I want us to be occupying. But you got to give Unai Emery and Aston Villa tremendous credit. I think, I might be wrong on this, but I think that's 10 wins in a row now, which is quite simply sensational. So full credit to Unai Emery and Aston Villa, because nobody expected this at the start of the season when they weren't doing too well. So, David Ornstein has just dropped this in to say Alexander Isak set for a period on the sidelines with a suspected leg break from the challenge in Liverpool's win over Spurs. Liverpool yet to comment on the severity, but scans are poised to confirm fears of a fracture to the left side. Recovery time, typically a few months. Now, I do know that there's an MRI planned, or there was an MRI planned for tomorrow. But I don't know how I feel about this one now. Because in one way, it's far better than the greatest fear that we had, which was that potentially Isak had an ACL injury. So a couple of months isn't great, but it's not season ending. It's a difficult one though, isn't it? You really do feel for the guy. I mean, he came on, took his goal incredibly well. Vert's got a little assist. So yeah, just processing this here in real time. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but a couple of months is certainly better than the end of the season or an ACL injury, which would again take a lot more to come back from. I did start to get a little bit, I don't want to say confident, But as the day went on, I was reading more and more stuff that was suggesting it was a lower leg injury than perhaps the knee injury. And once it was lower leg, I didn't know what it was going to be, but I was getting more and more confident that it wasn't going to be an ACL. And again, it would depend on the extent of the fracture as well. So we'd have to wait and see what those scans come up with. But good reporting as always from David Ornstein, an actual proper journalist. Stu said a fracture is often better than an ACL or a dislocation. Oh, mate, I would say it's much better than an ACL. Definitely. Like, again, no doctor. But yeah, for me, that would be a far better outcome than an ACL. But still, it's still going to be a prolonged period on the sidelines for Isak. And, I guess the next question we're all going to ask is, do Liverpool now push into the January transfer market? Because a couple of stories doing the rounds again today about Semenyo. But before I move on to Semenyo, I want to just kind of echo something that the lads at LFC Transfer Room posted, because I'm right behind their thought process. So LFC Transfer Room posted a picture of Harvey Elliott and said, "Bring him home. More than ever, we need as many options up front as possible. Harvey has always been a dangerous option up front when played on the wing." I'm right behind the lads on this one. If there's any way to get Harvey Elliott back playing again with us, make it happen. Because we know Villa aren't going to give him the games that will trigger the option to buy or the obligation to buy. We know Harvey Elliott couldn't come back and get loaned out to another club in Europe or the Premier League because of the rules, and he's played for 2 clubs in 1 season. So the options for Harvey are stay at Villa and not play, or bring him home and at least give Arnott another option. Maybe his future doesn't lie with Liverpool long term. Who knows? But right now, I think Harvey Elliott will be a more than credible option to bring him back and to give him opportunities in our team. That's what I would say. So I want to ask you guys that on tonight's first poll question. So, question I'm going to ask is, should we look to recall and use Harvey in the second half of the season? So we'll leave that one running for a little while and we'll come back to it. How are the mince pies going? Oh, we've got good news on that front. I've got incredible dessert news today. Not only did Mrs. Anfield Agenda find 2 more boxes of those mince pies I was talking about, but my daughter took a little trip up to Dublin and only went into Marks and Spencer's and got me a couple of those treacle tarts. So I'm winning on the dessert front today. Yeah, very good day in that regard. Look, over the last, 20 hours, I've received so many messages. I don't know. I explained it at the end of the video yesterday. But I just want to say something again really quickly, and then I won't go back over it and draw it out anymore. But as I finished yesterday's watch-along, just as I finished the actual watch-along, and before I went into the match reaction, my wife came in to tell me that unfortunately my godfather and my uncle passed away yesterday. My godfather is my uncle and passed away yesterday, and I found out in between the watch-along and the match reaction. And I mentioned it at the end of one of the news videos yesterday, but I just want to say thank you, because I did see all the kind messages and all the stuff in the comments on the videos and stuff. I've just, I've kind of just been processing things today. I've told you guys this before, but unfortunately December it's been a terrible month in my family's existence. I mean, my mum was in a coma from an overdose at Christmas many years ago. My father died December the 30th. My grandmother died in December. I wrote a car off and had a bad car crash in December. My other uncle, God bless him, had an accident after a work night out and died. And now another uncle and my godfather passed away in December. It's a difficult month, and it's one that every year my mental health does go down. So I just want to say thank you. That was it. It meant more than and appreciate you all. Thank you for that. Right, let's keep cracking on because there's lots more to get through. So Graham Bailey, Craig, man up, for fuck's sake. I'm not getting my violin out for you. I didn't ask you to, bro. I didn't ask you to. Another lad behind an account name that makes no sense saying man up. Didn't ask you to man up, mate. Never asked you to, But I promise you one thing. You wouldn't live what I've lived through. You wouldn't have the courage and the balls to do it. So, talking about man up, I promise you, bro, I wouldn't wish what I've been through in life on you or anybody else. And again, if you ever see me, please feel free to tell me to man up in person. I'd enjoy that interaction, my friend. I really would. Right, Graham Bailey. So Graham Bailey said, as revealed earlier in the week, a move to Liverpool was always believed to be Antoine Semenyo's preference, but he's actively talking to Man City and Man United too. Why are people this so rude? Because they're miserable, sad, pathetic excuses of human beings. Simple as that. They don't have anything. They don't have the happiness and love I feel in my life. They don't have the happiness and love you feel in your life. They have nothing other than go on the internet and try to make other people feel the pain that they feel and struggle with day to day. That's all it is. Don't ever let them get to you, because they exist in a pain and a misery that must torture them. And I wish them every happiness moving forward, because, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it what they do. I couldn't be that miserable and pathetic of a human being. But, I always take comfort as well knowing that these lads will eventually get a punch in the mouth from somebody when they say the wrong thing at the right time. And, karma, I believe in karma. And that prick will get his. Sonder said, we can spend in January with so much leeway in the summer. So Slot saying the club doesn't have unlimited money is false. 3 players, please. Season's done. So that comment about Arna saying about unlimited money, again, what annoyed me about that, Sonder, wasn't just the manager saying it. It was the fact that I didn't really seem to see any journalists push back on it. Or maybe they did and I've missed it. And if they did, fair play. But to say that and then not have somebody immediately go, sorry, Arna, but, you tried to buy a defender. You had £35 million to buy a defender. The medical was done. His bye-bye video was done for Palace. And then, the deal didn't happen in the end because Crystal Palace pulled the plug on it. So this is what I'm talking about. These so-called journalists aren't doing any journalism. They're just reporting what other people are saying. They aren't looking for the truth. They aren't looking for answers. We all know we were trying to sign the defender. Arna knows we were trying to sign a defender. In the last week, he said that. And he said, I like Kiesa as a man. I like Kiesa as a player. And nobody thinks to push back against that. Nobody from the journalist side. Just accept any old bollocks that comes out of his mouth and don't challenge it. He bought Leone, to be fair. It's unlucky he got an ACL. But what has him buying Leone got anything to do with what we're talking about? Arna said, I'll read it out to you, just so you can get the exact quote of what he said, so I'm not putting it out of context. 1 second. Just so I can, like I said, so I can give it to you correctly. If I had it, which I don't seem to have, sorry. Yeah, so he said, some people seem to think this club have unlimited money. You journalists know better than others that we sold money, or we sold players and brought in players. He neglected to mention that we were trying to spend that £35 million that was clearly there at the end of the season. Or at the end of the summer window. So, in what world was anybody asking for money that the club hadn't already had there to commit to a defender? was the point that I'm trying to make. You're spot on about being unlucky with Giovanni Leone. I mean, God, that's incredibly unlucky for the young man. And we do, of course, wish Giovanni a speedy recovery. But yeah, that's just more garbage from Arna that apparently just gets unchallenged. Foxy, love you, mate. Stay strong for your family. Thank you, Foxy. Carl and I, that gentleman, we go back 25 years probably. Carl knows my family very well. The detective, Merry Christmas to you and the family, mate. Don't think we need a forward in January. If anything, we need a DM and a centre-back to boost our options. So, yeah, look, the forward situation is an interesting one, the detective, because I guess it comes down to the system that Arna wants to play. So, let's hypothesize that Isak's out for a couple of months. We know that Mo's also away for, let's say, 4 or 5 weeks. Gakpo is out at the minute. So, we really are running out of options. We seen what Kiesa got yesterday. More garbage minutes. 89th minute coming into the game. More garbage time. And Rio got no time. So, I kind of do think we could do with a forward. But priority-wise, I agree with you. Centre-back is number one without a shadow of a doubt. I just wonder now, will the club feel... Because you don't want to sign a player when someone else is injured for 2 months. But there was already conversations about a forward, maybe a forward towards the summer. So, and we still don't really know what's going on with Mo. Full disclosure, we don't know the whole scenario. So, what if Hugh got picked up a knock now? Then we're really into the realms of up shit creek. So, yeah, whilst I wholly agree with you on the priority levels, I think it has to be in the conversation now. Frank said, for tarting yourself up for us, looks grand. Cheers. The real Johnny Sins Hate said, there's no reason why Villa can't win the league this season. I really hope Villa's owners do back Emery and Villa fans justice in the January window. I'm not sure what Villa's situation is with PSO or anything. I honestly haven't got a clue. I remember they had to move some players on and they were kind of limited in what they could do in the summer. But I don't know if things have changed since then. I still don't think they'll do it. It kind of reminds me of Chelsea last year when they had this really good first part of the season. But like if Villa went on to win the league, wow, what an incredible story that would be for Villa's fans, who are a great set of fans as well. Yeah, look, my own father, I wouldn't say he ever supported anybody, but he was fond of Villa because of some of the Irish connection with Martin O'Neill and others there. So he always had a fondness for Villa, so I'd kind of have a little smile if they did manage to do it somehow. Right, so I always say to you guys that a couple of my favourite things to do after Liverpool play is read a piece on the Echo site where the Echo go through what some of the journalists and other newspapers have had to say. And I want to just read you through the Echo's verdict because I think it's quite balanced. So I want to just read you through what they've written. For 83 minutes, anybody searching for proof that Liverpool had finally turned the corner on their season will have gathered plenty of evidence here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. With Arne Slot's side in full control at 2-0, cruising to a 6th game unbeaten, and a 3rd successive clean sheet against the 10 men of Spurs, everything was pointing towards a largely stress-free day at the office. A sloppy concession changed all of that, however, and despite offering very little in the final third prior to Richarlison's 83rd minute effort, it was the hosts who suddenly looked the most likely to score again, even when they were given their second red card of the game for Christian Romero. Quite why Liverpool struggled to see out 2-goal advantages, only Slot and his players will know. But the dying embers here looked for all the world like it was about to happen for a 5th time this term across all competitions. The Reds' ability to shoot themselves in the foot is unmatched in that regard. A masterclass in how not to manage the final 10 minutes, remarked former captain Jamie Redknapp. This time, though, they held on by the skin of their teeth. Rarely has an important win like this felt like such a scant progress. I think that's pretty balanced. I would slightly disagree at the start of it about how much control of the game we had. I think maybe, yes, we were slightly better, but they're damn right about the last few minutes. You know, it's panic stations when it gets to that time. Like, it really is, and something needs to be figured out there. You know, we can keep talking about potential individual errors and small margins, but I don't know anybody who wasn't nervous when Villa managed, or excuse me, when Spurs pulled one back. I don't. You know, my heart was in my mouth, and it was a really poor game management plan from us for the final 9 minutes of stoppage time. We really, really didn't deal with that situation well. Like I said yesterday in the post-match stuff as well, you know, if that was Manchester City, if that was Arsenal, probably another few teams, that, you know, Spurs wouldn't have seen the ball for the last 9 minutes. They would have just been passed to death, dragged around the pitch, baited into fouls out of frustration, and the clock would have been ran down. But somehow, you know, we were left clinging on there right at the end of the game again, and it's concerning. Although, of course, you're happy with the 3 points. That meme guy said the Tottenham game almost turned into the Leeds game, which we somehow bottled. Yeah, it was concerning. It was concerning how we just couldn't keep hold of the ball. You know, for a manager that wants his teams to play in a way that dominate possession and stuff, you know, we couldn't string passes together at all. We just kept lumping it out and it was coming straight back at us against 9 men at that point. Harry said, Craig, heartbreaking news. Hope you and all of your family are well. It's never easy losing somebody. You always have us. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you. Look, it isn't, but, you know, I don't want you getting the violin out for me, bro. I've got to man up here, Harry. I've got to man up. But thank you, mate. You're very kind. Sorry to hear your sad news. Sending all our love. Thank you, Stargirl. We spent less than Arsenal in the summer. And that is true. Our net spend was less, mate. You're absolutely spot on. Yeah, that's true. Tottenham played dirty, said Rachel Todd. Oh, Rachel. It really was a dirty game of football. No arguing about that, mate. It was just snidey. I don't know about everybody else, but the one that really wound me up was Bentancur coming in and cleaning out. I think it was maybe Ekatike. It was just a scumbag, cowardly shithouse challenge. No intention to get near the ball. And that seemingly, you know, the way they set up to play yesterday, it was just, yeah, it wasn't aggressive because, you know, good aggressive football is fair. But some of those challenges yesterday were just genuinely shockingly bad, like really bad. Tiger Don. I thought Frimpong was a good option yesterday. Oh, he was brilliant, mate. Brilliant when he came on. You know, one of the things I was screaming about during the game was that I didn't see anywhere near enough width being used by us, especially after they went down to 10. But when Jeremy Frimpong came on, and look, obviously he came on in circumstances we wouldn't have wished them to because it was Isak's injury. But yeah, full credit. Jeremy made a big difference in a positive way in that game yesterday. I loved his little check cross. I know it got a little deflection on it for Ekatike's goal. But he was just giving us an option, and a good, credible option on that right side, and helped provide the width. So yeah, I couldn't agree more with you on that, mate. Spot on. Stargirl, with regards to Rio not being given game time, if Slot was managing in the 90s or the noughties, Gerrard, Fowler and Owen probably would not have gotten a run either. So, look, I can only ever give you guys my opinion. And yesterday, to me, at 75 minutes, when that game was 2-0, that felt like the perfect time to play Rio. And here's why. What I wanted to see in those situations where, you know, a team like Spurs, at that point down to 10, are going to have to commit bodies forward. What I want as a fan is pace standing on the halfway line. That's it. I wanted Rio Wengamoa brought on and told, do your bit when we're in possession, but when we're out of possession, stand on the halfway line and give Alisson an out ball. Because the amount of times Alisson could have just flung that into the channel when Spurs were attacking and getting bodies into the box, and Rio could have had a field day. If nothing else, he could have drawn fouls. It just felt like an excellent time to bring him on. And again, he didn't do it. So what the hell is going on? Like, it's a difficult thing to be a manager at a top club like Liverpool or United or whatever and bring youngsters through. But if you're talking about a youngster being that good that you're not blocking, you don't want to sign anybody else because you don't want to block a pathway, and then the manager's actions are very different to the narrative from the club, I think it's only fair that we're confused by it, right? Because we sold Diaz, and then people said, okay, we're not bringing in another forward because we don't want to block the pathway for Rio. Cool. But he's not getting a look in. Nothing. What has he had now? 12 minutes in the last 11 games? Something like that? Yeah, it's a really, really strange one. And, despite James Pearce's arrogance and sanctimonious tone of the way he's talking about people with short memories and all that, well, how about this for a short memory, James? How about the narrative that Liverpool weren't going to have to throw away any cup competitions this year because the club were assembling a squad to compete and dominate domestically, yet the very first time Arne Slot has an opportunity to fuck away a League Cup game, he does that? How about it being that Liverpool were building to dominate, to retain the trophy and push for the Champions League? Now all of a sudden, we're all supposed to rewrite history and say that this was perfectly normal and it was understandable that Liverpool fell off the way they did. Like, these guys write these things. You don't write them. I don't write them. And then they try to reinvent the wheel and tell us that everything that was the standard of the football club is no longer the standard of the football club because the narrative has changed on it, and we're all supposed to just go, oh yeah, and not question anything. So I think the people with short memories there aren't the fans, because, the fans remember. We remember what we read and seen. We remember how excited we felt. Where are we? This one. Sorry for a tough year, Craig. I'm sure your 2026 will be great. No. Look, so the stuff I've talked about there, mate, in December, that was going back. I'm just talking about December just being a really shitty time for my extended family in general. 2026 for me has been it's been more good than bad, to be honest with you, mate. Some downs, but lots of positives for the year. I'm sure 2026 will be great. Feel lucky to have joined this community. Thoughts on VVD's? Van de Ven's challenge. I'm back and forth. Yeah, so we kind of debated the Mickey Van de Ven challenge quite a little bit on the podcast last night with Connor and Chris. I don't think there was anything wrong with it personally. Or no, let me say it differently. I don't think there was any intent to do any damage in that. What I seen was a defender frantically trying to block the shot and throwing himself. So you could look at it and say he was out of control. And that's a fair point. But honestly, I felt like he was just trying to block the shot. And it was unfortunate. Because we need to remember, football's a contact sport. There is going to be physical contact. And, I wouldn't put that anywhere up there with some of the other scissory type challenges I've seen. I feel like it was just unfortunate. And I my own opinion is I don't think Mickey Van de Ven had any reckless intent in it. That's just my view. But I fully understand how somebody could look at it differently. As I said, it's one of those. It's one of those that maybe we can see it in different ways, and I'm fully appreciative of another viewpoint on it. L Dodge said Slot's tactics would destroy any young talent we have. Instructions to our players clearly are play it snail's pace and don't take any risks. Backwards and sideways, keep it simple. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like the style. And one word, actually, I'm going to ask you another poll in a minute about the style of football. So when I forget, because I will, remind me I just said about the style, and we'll get to the next poll. How do I pronounce this name? Manjnagra said, we won, yes, but performance overall was subpar. Really need to pull out a finger and change the game plan. 4-4-2 formation and counter-attacking style. Feel bad for Isak. Vert's doing well. Yeah, even yesterday, it felt like there was a lot more of that sideways, backwards passing going on again. I actually thought Canade was the better of the two centre-backs yesterday. I don't know what Virgil's head was at for their goal with his swing and a miss on it, but I thought Canade was the steadier of the two. James said, don't know if you've covered it. Do we know the situation with Isak? Hope you're well. So before I came onto the stream, James, the latest information that I had was that he was having an MRI tomorrow. But David Ornstein just posted this a few minutes ago, and Keane kindly quickly sent it on to me. Alexander Isak is set for a period on the sidelines with a suspected leg break from the challenge in Liverpool's win at Spurs. Liverpool yet to comment on the severity, but scans are poised to confirm fears of a fracture to his left side. Recovery time typically a few months. Now again, nothing confirmed yet, but David's very good with his reporting. So then I guess the question is that a good or a bad thing? It's not an ACL, but it's still a prolonged period out. So yeah, that's what I said. I'm still processing that in my head because you fear the ACL. Then as the day went on, James, I was reading stuff about people feeling it was more a lower leg injury. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe it isn't the knee then. And then you're just trying to figure out what it is. Do you know what, though? I never would have suspected a fracture or a break. Yeah. So look, when we get the full news and full information on it, we'll have a far better time to discuss it. But that's why yesterday I wasn't getting into the debate on is it an ACL or not, because we quite simply didn't know. And I hate to speculate on injuries because you're playing with fans' emotions. And I don't want to say to people, yeah, could be an ACL there, could be out for the season, when I didn't know. So two things here. Indy Kayla said Anton Semenyo has agreed personal terms with Liverpool. But then a post that said Antoine Semenyo has politely rejected Tottenham, who were keen on signing him and prepared to pay him a significant salary. Semenyo is currently focusing on joining Manchester City or Manchester City, according to David Ornstein with NBC Sport. So it's not looking great at this moment in time with the Semenyo situation with Liverpool, unless, as I said, we fast forward our priorities for an attacker. So we asked you, and we'll keep it up for a while longer, should we look to recall and use Harvey Elliott? Once we get to 2,000 votes, I'll ask you about our style or the way we play. So if you haven't voted on that one, please do. Also, if you can help me out by hitting that subscribe button, please do. As you can see, we're closing in on 366,000 subscribers. And don't forget to hit that like button as well. Where are we at? Arthur said, Bentancur, Romero, Richarlison, such a dirty roster. Yeah, Richarlison is... he's not a nice guy, really, is he, on the pitch? Don't know him off the pitch, but, you could see Frimpong burst open mouth yesterday. And, do you know what actually came through to me quite a bit from people? And I haven't watched it because, I watched the games in silence. But a lot of people are annoyed with Neville's punditry and commentary on the game yesterday, whether it was the Simons incident or the Richarlison incident. Apparently, people were unhappy with the way Neville was talking. But like I said, I haven't really heard it. What else have we got? Sonder said, been saying buy Morgan Rogers for some time now. A smarter, better, younger version of Gakpo. Also a super good lad. Barcola, Elise Rogers. Love you, man. He signed his new contract with Aston Villa in the last couple of months. So I would say trying to get Morgan Rogers out of there at the minute would be mission impossible, because you're talking about, well, a team who will feel like, and rightly so, they could be in a title race. And there's no way that's going to be disrupted. But look, he's a very good player. There's no denying that. But I just don't think there's any getting him out of Villa at the minute. So, on that David Ornstein comment, a little bit more on it. So, Tottenham Hotspur showed strong interest in Semenyo and were ready to offer him a lucrative wage package, but he's prioritising other opportunities, specifically moves to City or United. David Ornstein also said, Liverpool, meanwhile, have yet to pursue him with the same intensity. So, I don't know what that means for us, whether we will or won't dip our toes into the attacking market. But I tell you what, we best make sure there's a centre-back ready to go. Van de Ven on Isak, similar to Pickford on VVD, plus completely unnecessary, late, reckless, yet VAR again does nothing disgraceful. For me, and again, just my opinion, I thought that the Pickford one was far more reckless in my opinion. But like I said, I do respect others will have seen that Van de Ven challenged slightly differently. I just thought it was a defender trying to get a block in, and maybe a bit overzealous, yes, but I would certainly, for me, have put the Pickford incident, Roshi, at a far greater level of shithousery. Shane, how are you, mate? We were decent today. Shane's a United fan. Poor defending cost us again. I'm absolutely deflated. We're going nowhere unless players, an out-of-depth manager, and in my opinion, the worst owners in the league. So I didn't watch the game, Shane, today at all, mate. I just kept an eye on the scoreline. But look, I'm not going to lie, bro. I'm relieved you didn't win, obviously, because it gives Liverpool now a bit more breathing space above you in the table, and it didn't sit well with me that we're behind United, because I don't actually think United are a very good team this season. But I have seen some improvements in the United team, but it's very interesting to hear your opinion on the manager. Two things I'd like to ask you, Shane, as a United fan. One, do you think, how much of the blame would you portion to the manager for the failings so far this season? And secondly, where would you be on the manager's thoughts that he said some of the younger players at United have a sense of entitlement? Because I have to say, I'm fully behind his thought process on that, on the entitlement issue. Like Mainu's half-brother standing there in his Free Kobe Mainu t-shirt, I'd ban him from Old Trafford immediately for that shit. You're a young kid. Young players have to earn the right. And I'm not saying Mainu's not a talented footballer. Mainu's a very talented footballer. But obviously, for whatever reason, Ruben Amorim isn't seeing something he likes there, or something that he thinks he's ready. So I'd like to get your thoughts on those two things if possible, Shane, because I agree with him on the younger players thing. And I'm not saying it's a United issue only. I'm sure there are other clubs whose youngsters are getting a little bit ahead of themselves. The real Johnny Sins hate said VVD did what I'd want our defenders to do. Or excuse me, Van de Ven did what I'd want our defenders to do more. Well, mate, I've been screaming at our defenders to get out and get more blocks in as well. So yeah, look, I just feel it was unfortunate, but like I said, whatever the thought process that we have, the most important part of it is what it means for Alexander Isak, and I guess we're going to find that out more clearly over the next 24 hours. Right, we need 50 more votes, and we're there. So just 50 more votes, and we've got 2,000. Then I can ask you the question on our style of play. And if you can, again, don't forget, please do hit that subscribe button. Roshi said, scissors tackles will do that. Red for me all day. I don't think it was a scissors challenge. I think it was, and again, I'm working off memory, so I'm not saying I'm 100% right. I think it was one leg going forward to block, and then a trailing leg kind of coming through a natural sliding progression when he hits the ground. But red or no red, I think we'll both agree, Roshi, that the most important thing here is trying to find out what story is with Isak. And hopefully, he's back as soon as possible. Because it was lovely to see him score that goal yesterday. It gave us a little glimpse of what we paid for. Because it wasn't an easy finish. It was a very well taken goal. Had a little Wirtz assist in there as well. It was such a horrible moment because he scores the goal, you celebrate, and then you see him not getting up. And the fear kicks in straight away then of, oh, how serious is this? Get up, please get up, Alex. Please get up, please walk, please run it off, please. And he didn't. So it was, it was just a very strange few minutes, wasn't it? That one. Right, so 86% of over 2,000 people that voted think yes, Liverpool should recall and use Harvey Elliott. Right, let's ask the other one. Right, so something that kept coming up yesterday, even when we were winning, was an unhappiness with the way that we play under Arne. So the question I'd like to ask you guys is, do you find our style under Slot boring? That's, we've won 4 and drawn 2 out of the last 6, and I'm always happy with wins. But a lot of people kept saying, Craig, this is boring, boring, boring. Even Connor keeps saying to me it's boring. It's just not a good style. What is the style? I don't see it. What are we doing? So I just want to ask, whatever you think, whether you're in or out, doesn't matter. I just want to know, do you like this style or do you think it's boring, the style of football we play? FC Pitside said, any Isak injury update? As I just went through, mate, I'm sure you posted that before I read out the Ornstein thing, but David Ornstein believes it could be either a fracture or a break to the left leg, and we will get more information on that one tomorrow. So a couple of months based off a rough prognosis. Will said, Arne's style of play, slow, side to side, supposedly controlling the game is not convincing. Once the opposition up the pace of the game, it's panic stations. Free Kiesa. So, after that game yesterday, I looked back and they had more shots on goal than us and more shots on target than us. In a game where they had 10 men for most of it, 9 men for the end of it. And they still had more shots. Now look, we won the game. And that's the most important stat, like I always tell you. The scoreboard's the most important one. But with 65% of the ball, and they did more with 35% of the ball. And we conceded again from a set piece. So I don't see how Arne can have any illusion of control of games. Because if we were in any way able to control the game, we should have strolled through the last 9 minutes against 9 men by controlling the possession of the football and made the pitch big, moved them around. And like I said, they'd have got frustrated, they'd have kicked the player, then we could have rolled around on the ground for a minute, ran the clock down a little bit, started it again, same process, move the ball, keep it away from them. So that's what controlling it is, and that's how you see a game of football. And I seen none of that yesterday. I seen panic again. Ordonez, Jacquet for me as the two centre backs, no gay. Look, Joel Ordonez is certainly somebody who's highly thought of and has been linked to us from as far as the summer. Not going to lie, haven't really followed him for Club Brews this season, but I do know he has a credible list, or excuse me, a credible target. Jacquet, not got a clue on, bro. Not got a clue on that one. For me, Marquet should be the obvious one. For loads of different reasons. Premier League proven, natural leader. We tried to sign him already. So I do hope that the reports that Lewis Steele mentioned, which again I'll read out to you, I do hope that, because it's similar to the information that I had, that I not read out to, but I told you guys about a few days ago. So he said, where is it? I still think Liverpool have a really good chance of signing Marquet. I just wonder if there's an under-the-table gentleman's agreement between Liverpool and Gay from 1st of September or whatever date it was, where they were literally that close to signing him. So, yeah, I hope that's still the case. Danny. Hey Craig, I'm sorry to hear the news last night. I hope you and family are okay. We all love you and are here for you. You're the best around. Thank you, mate. Do you know what the really sad part of it is for me, apart from obviously the passing, is I can't bring myself to go to another funeral, especially in December. My wife's aunt died recently. I couldn't bring myself to go to that. Yeah, I just can't do it. I can't bring myself to go to another funeral. I just can't. It'll break me. But thank you, Danny. Appreciate you. And yeah, you guys have been incredible. Like I said, apart from that prick earlier on who was just a heartless arsehole, but thank you. Shane said, I don't think Amram gets the club on the youth. What he said about Harry Amas and Toby Collier was shocking. Mainu's brother was stupid. I'm not convinced Kobe was behind it, though. So there is certainly a history and a fine tradition of youth at Manchester United, from the Busby Babes to the class of 92. But the class of 92 to now is a long way away. And when's the last time United really brought through a supreme talent? Rashford? Maybe? So I think Amram understands that past, but each generation have to earn the right to be into that team. And I don't think it's a United only problem. I think, like, Liverpool, I know, have gone out of their way to make sure they don't give young players too much too soon with regards to financial stuff and things like that. Because I do think you have to have some level of reality, really. Because a lot of these kids have gone through all their age groups, even before they go to a big club. And they're the best in it. And everyone's told them their entire life how great they are. And then it gets time to get to senior football. And we all know that's the next and biggest, hardest step to make. And some of the kids jump straight in, look great. Some drop in and out. And it's not unusual. Even great players who've come into young teams or come into teams have, been managed. I just didn't like what he said about the youth, personally. I didn't. I don't know the situation, of course, as well as you would, Shane, as a United fan. But, yeah, I just think there is too much entitlement in a lot of footballers these days. Darren said, Craig, I rate Elliott more than Curtis Jones. Look, I think Curtis has had a good season and didn't think he had a great game yesterday, mind. But look, I've always been a fan of Harvey Elliott. I also see that What's-His-Face lost yesterday as well. Andrew Tate lost. Oh dear. This one, Stargirl, said style is not like Klopp's, which is why we got Slot. That's something we just can't get away from. We were told that stylistically they were similar, right? And that it wouldn't be too much of an upheaval because of that style. And we're so far removed from that. Like you've said, and you've said it to me, Stargirl, for a good few months now. And you've not been wrong. It just feels so strange to me because we had a system that worked. And any manager wants to put his own stamp on that. But whatever it is he's done, I don't know a football fan who can describe it in 3 sentences. You know, I like to think I know footy. I've been around it 36 years now. I couldn't describe it to you. Haven't got a Scooby what I'm looking at. I know it's frustrating as fuck, but I wouldn't know how to explain it. Stephen Brown said, "Hi Craig, if Isak is out, do you think that Liverpool should go to Newcastle for Nick Voltmada?" I'm of course joking. I was wondering there, Jesus mate, I was thinking, oh please don't put me up to this conversation. And condolences to you and the family. I think Voltmada's had a great start to life at Newcastle. Obviously the goal he scored, the OG, was just unlucky. But he's had a very good start to life at Newcastle. So that's why I'm so confused at why the hell Newcastle fans are so obsessed still with Isak. Just enjoy your own new lads. Like, you know, Visa's now in and playing. Voltmada's had a good start. You know, just focus on that. We talked about a player yesterday from Midtjylland. Francolino Ju, spelled DJU. Liverpool are very interested, according to Christian Falk, in Midtjylland striker Francolino Ju, who's 24 goal contributions this season, 21 years of age. I think he's from Guinea-Bissau, if my memory is correct, and is valued at about 25 to 30 million euro. From where? Midtjylland. Yeah, Midtjylland. Not Midgetland. I didn't say that. Midtjylland. Who, by the way, I think have had a very good European season so far from what I've seen, and some good results. How about Senesi from Bournemouth for centre-back? Maybe. It's not a name I've seen linked to us, to be honest with you, Mark. Yeah, I've not seen him linked, but look, for me, Mark Gay's the sensible play, but I do feel like Glasner is going to throw his toys out of the pram again. And Ousmane Diomande of Sporting Lisbon, we reported the other day, he signed a new contract now, and that has an 80 million euro release clause. So I mentioned something last night, and I want to just bring it up again, and I want to credit Quiva O'Neill, who posted this. And Quiva writes that Arsenal fans sing "Feed the Scousers," and Everton fans supporting Food Bank's logo goes up on the screen then straight away at the Hill Dickinson. Quality from Everton. Absolutely embarrassing from the Arsenal fans singing it. Solidarity with Food Banks. Hunger doesn't wear club colours. Spot on from Quiva. And I'll never ever understand this. I'll never understand it. Never. What type of Neanderthal thinks it's okay to talk about hungry people or people struggling in any neck of the woods, in any part of the country, in any part of the world? It takes a particular type of prick to sing stuff like that. Especially at this time of the year. You know, Everton and Liverpool do fantastic work in the local communities, and fans for Food Banks in general do incredible stuff run by brilliant people with incredibly kind hearts. Lads, this is where we're resorting to now as a society. This type of shit. Again, I said it to you guys. I was watching the United game the other day, and they were singing "Feed the Scousers." I mean, I don't get it. I really just don't get it. It's just, it's lowest common denominator, pathetic shit. And everybody's struggling. You know, right now in the world, it's tough for everybody. Costs are up. Energy prices are up. You know, wages aren't matching inflation. People are being laid off. You know, this is a time where people need to stick together and show some solidarity. Darren said, seeing Morgan Rogers today, would love him at Liverpool. Yeah, he's a quality player. He is. Somebody showed me a post in our Discord group of Middlesbrough, a Middlesbrough fan account, I think it was, basically saying that they fleeced Villa for the money for Morgan Rogers. Michael said, don't be so woke, for fuck's sake. You're just a... Mate, you are just a moron. Do you understand what woke means, you dumb fuck? Not wanting people to be hungry isn't woke. You just don't use words you don't understand. I sincerely hope that nobody in your family ever loses their job or has to go without or can't afford to put the heating on or your grandmother isn't struggling to keep the heating on. It's not woke not wanting people to be struggling, mate. It's called decency. Decent fucking human behaviour. Woke. Fuck me. It's just another brain-dead internet moron who doesn't understand the terminology they're using. You just hear buzzwords and think, I'll jump on board with that. Learn the subjects you're discussing before embarrassing yourself again, will you? Fuck me. And if it is woke to not want kids or families to struggle, then call me fucking woke, bro. Call me whatever you want. Because it breaks my heart to see it. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Not at this time of year. Jacob Harvey said Klopp used to make young players drive a slow car. Plus, if you watch that tackle again, no matter whether he scored it or not, Isak was getting cleaned out. I will have to watch it back, mate. No doubt about it. I will have to watch it back, and like I said, I respect everyone's views on this one because it is an open to interpretation situation for sure. I just have to, like I said, for me, I didn't feel there was malice in it, but I will absolutely watch it back. I think food banks are all around the country and they help so many people, can afford so much, and I don't understand why people are saying it's disgusting. There's food banks in my own country. Excuse me, here in Ireland. So, you know, I'm older. And when I was growing up in school, we used to always have troker boxes. And you'd bring them home and you'd put them in your house. And, you know, every time anybody had a bit of spare change in your house, 20p's, 10p's, you'd go into the troker box. And you bring the troker box into school, and the school would, you know, put all the money together and then send it to the charity, and it would go to third world countries to help. And here we are now in the same generation, and people in our own countries are struggling to feed themselves and pay basic utilities and just get by. And there's pricks like your man that thinks it's funny to mock that. It's it's crazy. It's crazy. Like I've had the pleasure of donating money on our community's behalf to Fans for Food Banks on a couple of occasions, and you know, looking into the work that they do, it's unbelievable. You know, and you've seen it yourselves going to a game. You'll see them making donations and collections outside. And that and an hour for others, another incredible charity around Liverpool. That it just this is why I love Scousers, and I know that these things exist up and down the UK and certainly in my own country as well. But this is what I will always stand here and defend Scousers for, because I don't know a single fucking Scouser that doesn't have a heart the size of the Mersey and that wouldn't give you the last bit of bread they had. You know, I don't. Any Scouser I know is an absolute salt of the earth human being, and for these lads to be getting ridiculed and mocked, it's just arsehole behaviour. And I know I keep banging on about it, and I'm sorry, but I just can't. I don't get what goes through someone's head to do it, like, to sing it. Adam said, with Isak's injury, if Slot doesn't play Kiesa, then I give up. Treatment of him is diabolical. An attacker and a centre-back is essential in January. So, at this point, Adam, do you really genuinely still harbour any hope that Kiesa is going to start getting regular game time? Because I thought about this the other day, and I've broke down into segments and different sections. So, at a time where we had no wingers, because he wasn't playing Salah and he doesn't play Rio, he still wasn't playing Kiesa. Yesterday, when Isak got substituted and he could have brought Kiesa on, he didn't. He brought him on for the garbage time minute at the end again. I just don't see any world where Kiesa starts to get game time now. And like I said, even the journalists have been writing about it, and I'm going to read again what Lewis Steele said on it. I just think we have to now accept that he's not going to play Kiesa. He just isn't going to do it. And that's why I think it's important that Liverpool try to find a solution in January that sees us bringing it forward and that sees us lose Kiesa. And it isn't because I don't like him or you don't like him. It's because we're talking about, what is it, 7 million quid a year? Just going out the door for a player who is not getting a sniff and isn't going to get a sniff. And that's, again, that's just not my opinion or your opinion. This is just our lived experiences as Liverpool fans. I'm trying to find the quote from Lewis Steele. Sorry, I'm going through all my notes here. So yeah, on Federico Chiesa, Lewis Steele said this. Slot, wouldn't mind me saying it, just doesn't seem like he trusts Kiesa. That's just a guess that I got because I know when they lost at Plymouth, Slot was furious with Kiesa. He was one of the senior players on that day and he just didn't seem to perform. A few people have said how frustrated Slot was. I just think what Kiesa has to do to prove to Arna that he deserves a chance, because if you lose in every game, you can't get a game. Then you sort of think that maybe he doesn't like him at all. It seems to me like Kiesa could come off the bench and score every week and he still wouldn't play. So the whole Kiesa situation is another massive black mark against Arne Slot for me. Another one. We talked about it on the podcast last night. We have a manager moaning about injuries in the small squad. And he has underutilised the squad that he does have from his own pig-headedness. And then tells the media, I like Kiesa as a man, I like him as a player. Won't play him. You know, at a time now where we're the walking wounded, won't play him. So I just don't see a world, mate, where he's ever going to start playing for us regularly under Arna. And that's why I think it would be best for everyone if we bring in another forward in January and move Kiesa on. Because what's the point? What's the point in all of us looking at the bench every day that we play, looking through it, going, he's not going to play, he's not going to play, and he's not going to play regardless. You know? And again, the Plymouth stuff. To go back to that game and seemingly hold Kiesa responsible for that. Now let's remember when we played that game. Kiesa hadn't been playing, had no rhythm, hadn't built up full match fitness, and was put into not the strongest Liverpool 11, put in with the kids and a very mixed Liverpool 11. Yet somehow he's held responsible in the manager's mind for that failure. That just doesn't even make sense. James said, "Hi Craig, why are these journalists insulting the fans each week?" I really don't know, mate. I don't know. It happens every single week at this point. Article just slating the fans. There was even a piece in the Echo a few weeks ago that said sections of the online Liverpool fan base want the manager gone. As if nobody inside Anfield or season ticket holder wanted Slot gone. Because like I said at the time, I know many season ticket holders. Some of them are in the chat right now. Some of them are in our Discord. And I've spoken to people and asked what people around them were saying as well as their own views. So they always like to make out like anybody who has anything critical to say about the club is either a non-local, a non-match going fan, or an online troll. It's pathetic. And I don't get it. I don't understand why. Like, imagine I came on here every night and just insulted all of you relentlessly. You're not going to come and watch, are you? And why would you? You'd feel disrespected. So these people are writing pieces that they expect others to either pay for or read to be insulted by them. It's truly astounding to me. Art said, yes to the question, losing is boring, winning isn't. No, winning can be boring as well. It can. It's great. I'd certainly rather win. But, yeah, look, I just don't. I gather we're talking about the poll here, by the way, but yeah, I just don't know anybody who enjoys the style of football we're playing at the minute. Danny said, bring in King Troy Parrott to back up Ekatike. Not leave him as at Alkmaar, mate, you know, and keep him fit for Ireland. He's got some World Cup qualifiers or World Cup playoffs to be keeping Sparky fresh for. Aris Mandrakas said, hello Craig, mate. How are you, sir? With Mo away for the AFCON, Alex Cody injured, and Dom losing the game because of cards, I don't see a scenario in which Rio or Fede don't start. What do you think? Against Wolves. So, as you've said, Szoboszlai suspended. Certainly, we know Isak's out. Probably Gakpo out. I'm just trying to really quickly put together a team in my head. Bradley, I don't know what situation is there. So, sorry, my head. Jones. Wirtz. Yeah, it'd be a struggle not to put one of them in there. Like off the top of my head, running through a quick team, let's say Allison, Bradley, Canade, Van Dijk. It doesn't matter whether we go Robertson or Kirkes, Gravenberch, Maka, Jones, Szoboszlai injured. So then you put Wirtz in somewhere. Ekatike and you're still one short. It's a tricky one. It is a tricky one because there's not a whole lot of options there, is there? Yeah, that's a fair show. No Endo, no Gakpo, no Salah, no Isak, no Szoboszlai. Let me just have a quick look back through the bench yesterday. So on the bench yesterday, we had Kiesa, Isak, Robbo, Frimpong, Leone, Ramsey, and Gamoa. Lucky. So what he could do is put Ramsey at right back and Frimpong further forward. That could be one option. if he's looking to tweak the system a little bit, almost have Bradley or Frimpong, excuse me, in the Szoboszlai position of the right side of that midfield diamond. Have maybe Wirtz to the left or Maka to the left, the other one up top, and then Gravenberch at the base of it. Yeah, that's one option. But even at that, it's not great, is it? Be good if Gomez was back fit. If Gomez was declared fit or got over his hamstring strain, that could get us out of a hole there as well. You know, because Gomez could do the right back role, and then you could advance Frimpong further forward. Right, let's keep going. Craig, December's a tough month for you. It's the love and the memories you have that keeps you strong, and with the Anfield Agenda family behind you. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you. Yeah, look, it's a tough month, like I've said before, but it is what it is. You know, you gotta just keep trying to plow on through. Or hey Craig, hope you and the fam have a great holiday. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, and to all of you as well. So here's the content schedule, by the way, for the next few days. We'll be gone right up to Christmas Eve. Depending on what time I get back, there might be a very late Christmas Day stream. You know, I'm up in the in-laws for Christmas Day dinner, so I might have a stream at about 9:30 or something like that. Yeah, probably be something late on Christmas Day, depending on when I'm back. Just love the channel. Much love, Craig. Thank you. Thank you, man. I'm yeah. Look, I always reflect on the year around this time for the channel. I mean, I always go back and reflect on our advancements as a channel, and we're just about to hit 100 million views for the year of 2025. On the main channel, not even including the clips channel. It's yeah, it's another incredible one. I said this yesterday, and for the first time ever now, I'm actually thinking, you know, maybe we can get 1 million subscribers. Maybe someday this is going to be possible before I hang up the microphone. Yeah, I'm starting to feel more comfortable with accepting that things are going to go okay, you know? But yeah, I'm now, for the first time I'm going to say it out loud, I want that gold plaque. I want it. Not at all costs, because, you know, there are things I will and won't do, but I want that gold plaque. I want to be the Liverpool channel that gets to 1 million subscribers, because it's a crying shame we don't have one. So it would, yeah, let's give it a go. Let's see where we end up, you know. Let's see what 2026 has in store for all of us. Scousers are 100% friendlier than Londoners. I don't know. Like I said, I'd never judge any area solely from anyone. I think there's good and bad in all parts, and I'm certainly not educated enough on the differences between Liverpool and Londoners, or North English people and more Southern English people. You know, I just take every individual as I find them, mate. Do you know the extent of Isak's injury? It seems like, according to Mr. Ornstein, I'll read this out to you now, exactly what David has posted. Alexander Isak set for a period on the sideline with a suspected leg break from challenging in Liverpool's win at Spurs. Liverpool yet to comment on the severity, but scans are poised to confirm the fears of a fracture to the left side. Recovery time typically a few months. Right, we're nearly at 2,000 votes on our style. So I asked, do you find our style boring under Slot? So if you do, let me know. And yeah, like I said, if you can help me out by hitting that subscribe button, there is 2,200 people in the chat right now. If you are new to our channel and you haven't subscribed, we're just 157 away from our next 1,000 target. And that's when I genuinely try to... I celebrate every 1,000 still in my mind. Same as I did at the very start. So let's chase down this dream together. Let's chase down this 1 million plaque together. Because when we do it, it will be our achievement together. And I've got my silver one. I'd like one of those gold ones now for us. So let's be optimistic for 2026. Sam said, just wanted to send my condolences for your uncle and godfather. May they rest in peace. Sending strength to your family and yourself. I know they're now. Lord's watching over you. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Sam, and Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. And I will certainly pass on your kind words, sir. Thank you. Quality Street or Roses? Probably Roses, but neither would be my first choice. If I had to pick one or the other, yeah, it would always err on the side of Cadbury's. But I'd probably be Celebrations. Mars Celebrations over any of the tins of sweets. I'm weird, right? I'll spend money on things and not think at of it if I like something. But there are some things I just won't spend money on. And the likes of like selection boxes and these tins of sweets, or the Christmas boxes of, 24 bags of crisps, I never find value in any of that, and I always steer clear of it for some weird reason. James Bailey said, Craig, I'd love to be a member, but I honestly don't have any spare money to afford it, especially with my second child on the way. I tune in all the time and love your content. Two things there, James. Firstly, I have never any expectation of you or anyone else, my friend. Your time is more than I could ask for. So don't ever think otherwise, James. Your time is more than enough for me, sir. But most importantly, congratulations on your forthcoming second child. And when little Bubba is born, please do email me with an address, because I want to send you a little something from your family at Anfield Agenda to welcome your newborn into the world, mate. So as soon as little Bubba is born, do email us or get in contact with us. If you're comfortable to send me your address, I'll make sure that the new arrival has something from their Anfield Agenda family to welcome them to the world. The Foxes selection or the Galaxy selection are so good. Oh, the Foxes bickies are top notch. Yeah. Foxes bickies are top notch. Or sorry, biscuits. Foxes biscuits are top notch. Martin Lawrence, how are we, Martin? If forced to choose between Kiesa or Mamardashvili to play on the wing, Slot would choose Mamardashvili. That's why Slot will ultimately fail. Yeah, man, it makes no sense. The treatment of Kiesa just makes no sense. It's one of these weird things. It just is. Gotta love the bounties. I love a bounty, Shay. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I love bounties. I love anything chocolate orange as well. But yeah, the bounties are always left over, but I was always in there, man. I think they've removed them now, if my memory's right. But yeah, I was always happy to have a bounty, mate. The only thing I don't like is dark chocolate, like Bourneville or any of that stuff. My wife's in the chat there, said, yeah, you baby, I need an excuse to buy tiny clothes. Well, that's every day for you, Sabrina. Come on now. Did I ever tell you what my wife's on my phone as? People think I'm joking on this, but it's the truth. My wife's on my phone as TLH. tiny little human. And that's, whenever my phone rings, that's what comes up on screen. TLH, tiny little human. So yeah, my wife, when she's buying herself football jerseys or and buys, 13-year-old boys jerseys. No offense, but dark chocolates for pensioners. I don't take offense by that, mate. I'm not a pensioner. Jesus, I'm not that old, dude. I just don't like it. I've never found a dark chocolate that I've liked. Danny said, if Slot did leave, would you take Emery? Yeah, I've always said Unai Emery's a great coach. And he would certainly not be a name that, if mentioned to Liverpool, that would worry me. I think Unai Emery is an incredibly good coach. Right, let's end this poll. So we asked, do you find our style under Slot boring? And 86% of people said yes. That's, yeah, wow. I do, for what it's worth. And as somebody said earlier on as well, if you win games of football, that's great. And it is. They're not wrong. It's great. Winning games of football is cool, but I like a bit of swagger as well. Do I like ice cream? Yes. I wouldn't go out of my way to eat ice cream, but I do. I like gelato. And I love, the Mr. Whippy ice cream, the ice cream van ice cream. I love that shit. But yeah, ice cream would be quite down my tier level of desserts. Wouldn't want Emery after the way he treated Elliott. To be fair to Unai Emery, he was up front from the start on that. So Emery didn't want Jadon Sancho and he didn't want Harvey Elliott. It was Monchi. And, I only found out about this because a Villa fan was kind enough to come into the chat one day and explain it to us. And then Monchi left. So I actually don't think Emery is intentionally screwed over Harvey. He didn't want him and he didn't want Sancho. Evening, Craig. Can you tell me what's the latest on Isak? David Ornstein reports that it's looking like a fracture or a break of the left leg. He said scans will confirm the extent, and he said a rough gauge of a time frame, a couple of months. But again, I know there was an MRI planned for tomorrow, but now, we'll get the full extent of it most likely tomorrow. What would be your song of choice before a darts walk on? Easy. Same song I walked on to for my last show in Liverpool. Yeah, very easy on this. And it is the most cheesy thing in the world, but Chesney Hawkes, I'm the one and only. That's my song. That's me. That's my own personal little song for me. Yeah, that would probably be the one I'd walk on to. Sorry, younger people might not know the song I'm on about there, but yeah, I did it for my last live show as well. I walked on to that. It's just always a song that resonated with me. Do I like peanut butter? Oh God, yes. Yeah. Anything peanuts, mate. Love it. Peanut butter. My favourite chocolate bar is a Star Bar, which is a mixture of peanut butter, peanuts, caramel. I just love it. Yeah, I love peanut butter. Do you think right back is becoming a concern with Bradley becoming inconsistent? I don't think it's a concern because he's inconsistent. I think it's a concern because he's way too injury prone, unfortunately. Because as a footballer, I think Conor Bradley is more than good enough. But I can't sit here and lie and say it isn't a concern that he seems to pick up quite a few knocks and niggles. Is Dom suspended for the game against Wolves? Yes, I believe a culmination of yellows means he misses the game. So, Physio Scout just posted this around Isak. saying, unfortunately, reports are pointing towards a broken leg / ankle for Isak. A few possibilities are as follows. Possible recovery times. Fibula fracture alone, 6 to 10 weeks with surgery. Syndesmosis and fibula fracture, 12 weeks. Tibia fracture, 3 to 5 months. Best possible outcome would likely be an isolated fibula fracture based off mechanism. Let's just hope for a fibula fracture in this context. So anything ranging there from 6 weeks to, 5 months? Depending on the outcome, like we said. Which current player's chant do we think is Craig's favourite on the team? Easy one. You should know the answer to that one. I mean, I'll give you the one that's not player related because it's the Fields of Anfield Road. That's my favourite one because my father-in-law's friend wrote the Fields of Athenry, Pete St. John, and gave us permission to use it if we want to at the time, and may rest in peace, he's passed away. So, yeah, he was a good friend of my father-in-law, so I've always had a connection with that song. And when it started getting used in the context of Liverpool for the Fields of Anfield Road, I always felt really connected to it. But for a player one, yeah, let's see if you can guess my favourite player song at the minute. Ekatike. No, it's not the Ekatike one, but I do love that. I absolutely love the Ekatike song. No, it's not the Kiesa song either. Nope. Bobby. Well, he's not a current player, is he? I did love the Bobby song, though. Absolutely love the Bobby song. The VVD song, there you go. Yeah, VVD song. That's the one. That's without a doubt my favourite Liverpool song. Because of, it's a cover of the Pogues' Dirty Old Town. Which, do you know what? Growing up, I always thought that song was about Dublin, but it's about Salford. But yeah, that one, Virgil song. He's a centre half. He's a number 4. That one, because my dad. So my family are very well, connected to Irish poetry and music. So Luke Kelly was my grandfather's best man at his wedding. And I grew up around the likes of the Dubliners and Luke Kelly's music and the Pogues' music and stuff like that. So yeah, that would have been a song that, the Wolf Tones, that I just grew up around. And when it became Virgil van Dijk's song, I absolutely I loved it. Michael Hopkins, of course you can have a shout out, bro. And Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. If there is Mo Salah, no matter. Salah song's incredible. The Salah version of James Sit Down, yeah, that's brilliant as well. I love belting that one out. Right, I wanted to finish up with a quick poll before I finish up. I was trying to think of a quick poll subject. All right, here we go. A quick one. That's what she said. It's funny because it's true. Right, so how many January signings will we make? Not do we need, not how many you would want. How many do you think we will make in January? 1, 2, 3, or none? Did somebody ask for a best Christmas song? That, come on. Is that even a question? You know, if anybody answers and it isn't Fairy Tale of New York, just run them out immediately. Because that is, without a doubt, the greatest Christmas song ever. Here's a question for you while you're feeling at that one. What's the best darts walkout song that's currently being used? So who's your favourite walkout song in the darts? So like Nathan Aspinall for a second, The Killers, Mr. Brightside, Green Light from Luke Littler. Like what would be your favourite darts walkout song that you look forward? Is it Titanium? Of course. Another absolute amazing one from Stephen Bunting. Craig, when Liverpool are on TNT Sports, you are the YouTube channel. Thank you for being here for us. My pleasure, Charlie, and thank you. Titanium for Alex E. Titanium again. Listen to some Blink 182. Oh, I know all the small things and quite a few Blink 182 songs, yes. Buntings for Keane. Buntings, yeah. Titanium is amazeballs. It is good. It is good. Do you know what got me the other day? I don't know if you guys seen it or not. Willie O'Connor walked out to Zombie from the Cranberries. And I've never or rarely heard Ali Pali sing a song as loudly and vociferously as they did for Zombie when Willie O'Connor walked out. Scotty said, here's a song, Craig. Favourite Liverpool song about any of our players? It's got to be Si Senor, Bobby Firmino. It's got to be. After that, probably the Genie Wijnaldum song. But yeah, Si Senor was without a doubt my favourite of the player songs. Who's my favourite darts player? Of all time, it would have always been Raymond van Barneveld. Right now, Josh Rock. Absolutely love. I'd love to interview Josh Rock, actually. I think he's an incredible darts player. Obviously from the same island as me, although he's from the north of Ireland. So I'd love to interview Josh Rock and have a chat with him about darts. And Stephen Bunting. Who doesn't love Stephen Bunting? We almost became one of his sponsors at one point because Stephen Bunting had, I think, a shirt sponsorship spot available, and me and Connor chatted at the time about whether we do it, and it was at a stage in our channel's growth where it was stretching us a bit at that point, and we didn't want to run the risk, but maybe in the future, you never know. Not a darts fan, but Eye of the Tiger if it was me. Well, that was Raymond van Barneveld's walkout song, which was just incredible. Who do I think's going to win the World Darts Championship? I think it's got to be Luke Littler, hasn't it? You'd imagine it'll be an all-Luke final again, but look, Luke Littler's just... The only thing wrong with Luke Littler is that he's a United fan. But apart from that, incredible. Just, he seems like such a lovely, grounded young man. Phenomenally good darts player, obviously. Does so much good stuff. And yeah, look, Luke Littler is just a phenom. Do you know what else? I said this as well. I know he doesn't like me, and I don't fucking know why, because look, I'm amazing. But I was so happy for Angry Ginger as well. Me and my wife had a good long discussion about this one the other evening, because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but he rang me one day, and he rang me to just kind of sing a United song down the phone and banter with me, and there was nothing. It was fine, like there was nothing wrong with the call at all, other than I didn't get a chance to chat back with him because he'd hung up. But he doesn't seem to like me for some reason. I think I don't know why, but we said when he was going in to I'm a Celebrity that, you know, we'd be right there behind him, supporting him. And honestly, I'm so I don't know the lad, but he's why I love our industry, because somebody can take their life and be in a difficult position and get to where he is. And if you're not moved by that, or inspired by that, or proud of that, you must be dead inside. So, I hope his opinion on me has changed as time has gone on, but all I can say is I'm incredibly proud of what he's done and how he and his mum and his sister and his family's life is going to be changed for the better, because that's what this shit's about, right? This is why we all start this with a microphone and a dream, and I love seeing people achieve theirs. So congratulations to the young man, and I wish him nothing but the best, because he seems like a really good young lad underneath it all. Oh, and also, we're going to be doing a little bit of darts content moving forward. I forgot to mention that to you. So once our studio is set up, we've got a full dart set up that we've got for the studio. And we're going to be setting up a camera at either end. So one camera board facing towards the thrower, and one camera facing towards the board. And we're going to do little bits of darts content every now and again. Maybe try to set up a bit of an online darts competition with some of our viewers or something like that as well. So yeah, keep an eye on that one. It was, me and Connor are both big darts fans, and as soon as we said we're building the studio, the first thing we said is we're getting a dartboard sorted. So all the dart stuff is leaning against the wall there, ready to go up. The lighting for it, the hockey, the dartboard, everything's ready to go. Craig, please answer this. Is it Connor that gets the emails? Yes, it is. So it used to be that I had the contact at AnfieldAgenda.com email address, and Connor had the partnerships at AnfieldAgenda.com email address. But the police had asked me to sign out of all of them, because when the threats start coming in towards my live shows and the venues and my family and my son, obviously I was getting a bit aggro back at these people. So the police, as part of their investigation, asked me to sign out of them all. So I don't have the login to any of our emails. I don't have the login to our Twitter, our Instagram, our TikTok, YouTube, WhatsApp, and Discord. They're the only ones that I'm active in. So yeah, Connor deals with all the emails, because like I said, as the channel's grown, so has some of the threatening behaviour that's been aimed at my family grown, and I need to put a buffer between me and some of this stuff. Craig, thanks for seeing my comment, man. It's made my day. Sorry for your loss. Forget about those haters. Oh, mate, look, I try to get through as many comments as I can. Sometimes I miss a few of them and I feel bad about that, but I always try to read as much as I can, because without you guys, there's no show. J Bob, sad, how are we, dude? Said, Craig, not looking forward to the Arsenal game. Not only will we probably not win, Arsenal will make a snooze fest and the game will be decided by set pieces. It's going to be an interesting one for me, bro, because it is a real test for us. We've had a run of results that were a lot of the games we should be winning. Inter away was a great win as well, but a lot of the games we've had and have ahead of us, we should be winning. That's going to be a proper test for us. And I'm also intrigued to see how Arsenal deal with the pressure, because they've got Manchester City and I guess now Villa breathing down their throat. So I'm going to be really intrigued to see if they start getting twitchy bum time, because, it looked like they were going to stroll away with the league title at one point, and now it's getting a bit closer again. So yeah, that's, for a whole host of reasons, that's going to be a very, very interesting game. Craig, I reckon you'd be good crack on Big Brother. That's the only one of those shows I ever said I'd do. So a couple of things. I would have done any of the boxing stuff. I would have done any of that. And I said then, I think at the end of my 42nd year, that was it. I'm too old now, so no more boxing or any of that stuff. I wouldn't do I'm a Celebrity, because I know I wouldn't be able to sleep outside with all those mosquito bites and all that shit. No. But I would definitely do Big Brother. I've always said that. That's the one of those reality shows that I think would suit my personality type. Yeah, that's the only one. Craig, if Semenyo doesn't come, who do we get? There's been links to Barcola, but that seems far-fetched as well. We spoke earlier on about a young striker from Midtjylland by the name of Francolino Jew, spelled Franculino, and then the surname spelled DJU. He has 24 goal contributions this season and is valued at about 25-30 million euro at 21 years of age. Always fancy to go with the boxing though. Always did. Like, remember when Paddy had his fight that time? I always wanted to get in and do that. I really did, but nobody ever approached me with anything that piqued my interest financially. But that would have been something I would have definitely done. Threats against you and your family is abhorrent behaviour. Those people are the scum of the earth. If I showed you the emails, mate, you'd get, like, I'm talking about, look, this is what happened. I can say it now because the shows are all done. It got so serious that counter-terrorism in the UK had the Hot Water Comedy Club on a priority list because there was bomb threats and shooting threats to me and the venue for my shows there. And it happened on more than one occasion. So I talked to the venue and we talked about whether we think the threats were credible. And I said, look, I'm happy to do the show if you guys are happy to do it. So there was enhanced security that night and I did the show because these little piss ants aren't going to threaten me and bully me into anything. But then there's threats very specific towards my autistic son that I can't really get into because it's still under police investigation. There has been doxings of my address, my phone number. There have been pictures of Connor's front door. There have been like, I'm not talking about you're a dickhead type shit. That's normal. Like, I can deal with that crap all day long. I'm talking about stuff ranging from all of that to go kill yourself like your mother did. Stuff about my wife. Just, you know, just not nice stuff, really. But yeah, I did the shows and I was never not going to do the shows because, like I always say, I'm not hard to find. And if anybody ever does want to find me, I ain't hard to find. And I knew these lads were all mouth. So, yeah, like I said, I often got threatened if I went to a Liverpool game that I'd be strung up and hung by a lamppost on Lime Street. I got rang and threatened by somebody with a Scouse accent before the Real Madrid game a couple of years ago. And I answered the phone in front of my son because I was just about to leave. And I always answer all my calls on speakerphone because I hate holding my phone up. And I got those threats down the line. Look, just it is what it is, you know. I'd like to say it's par for the course. It shouldn't be, but, you know, this is why when people say to me, don't bite on some of the comments and stuff, I mean, if you've seen some of the shit that we've had to deal with, you kind of understand why I get a bit annoyed by it. I think we should play our game against Arsenal. Stuff how boring they want to play. Let's just hit them hard. We conceded a couple of goals. Look, we did well at home against them. And yes, the irony is it was a set piece that decided the game. An incredible Dominic Szoboszlai free kick. But look, if That's definitely one of the games I would say that I don't care how we play against Arsenal. The result is more important to me than anything in that particular game. That's disgusting. I hope the police can trace these people. They have. They have. One of them's already been charged. Yeah, we also had our company account hacked, and somebody tried to use one of our company cards in a restaurant in Birmingham, and I actually coordinated with the restaurant owner, and that person was caught red-handed as well. Thanks to the owner of that restaurant, absolute gentleman. It's look, I don't talk about a lot of this stuff that comes my way, because it's not up to you guys to sort it out or solve it. I just sometimes want to give you context as to why I might not always be the why some days I'm a bit more tetchy than others. And what would your ideal one signing this window be? It's got to be Mark A. Honestly, like ideal and realistic. Olise would be a dream signing, but I just think right now we need a centre back and then we need a defensive mid. Corbin said, "Got a feeling we're in for a tough couple of years. Think the squad is in a weird place. Think Isak and Hugo is a problem, wanting to happen. The lack of centre backs, the manager, still a huge question mark. It certainly is. Bear with me for one sec, folks. I just want to see if I can show you something. No, it's not that one. One sec. So here's the first line of one song, or one email, sorry, that I'm reading out here. And I can't read out the whole of the first line because it's too much, but the first line is, "I will rape your son in front of you." That's the first line of one of them. Another one starts off, "I'm sending more bomb threats to your venue and trust me, they aren't fake." "I hate you. Let's speak like a man before I dox you again." These are just some of the things that I've gotten sent. Oh, and then somebody else emailed me to say this, and this one fucking literally made me laugh. "Sorry, Craig," was the title of this email. And they said, "I've only been throwing abuse your way because I was bored, but you're a genuine guy and I've enjoyed your content for 3 years now. If you continue getting emails from people with, I don't want to say the username in it, it's not me, it's a group of people which I don't control." Yeah, that was a weird one. I mean, in one way, I kind of semi-appreciated the apology, but in another way, I was like, you were doing all that because you were bored? Even though you seen that I was a decent fella? It just didn't make any sense to me. Semenyo, Gordon, or Rogers? Rogers. Rogers, Semenyo, and Gordon in that order for me, Tobias. But appreciate you, mate. And thank you for your 21 months as a member as well. Stephen Gerrard, speaking to the Echo, said, "I'll be brutally honest with you. I'd help Liverpool in any department at any minute of every day. I'd help them with anything." Love that from Stevie G. Love that. Right, let's figure out this poll before we finish up. So I asked, how many January signings will we make? 1, 2, 3, or none? And 44% of people reckoned we're going to make 2 January signings. One signing had 21% of the vote, 3 signings 18% of the vote, and none 17%. I probably think 1 myself, but I would hope for 2. But yeah, I think 1 is most likely. Did I miss your super chat, Joshua? My apologies, sir. What about Ricky Evans? Love the guy. Oh, Rapid Ricky Evans is brilliant, and I love his Christmas outfits as well. Yeah, Ricky Evans always comes across like a really nice guy as well. Yeah, sorry I missed that, mate. My apologies. Right, look, I'm going to go and record because I've got a little bit more updates on the Isak situation that are just dropping in now that I have to just read through. But I'll have a video out before 11 o'clock, which will go through some transfer stories as well as some updates around Isak and some of the later newspaper stuff. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Connor will be here with a video, I believe, in the morning. I'll see you guys tomorrow night for the late night agenda, and there should be an evening news video out there as well. If you can, again, please do hit that subscribe button for me before you head off. Let's get it up to 1,000 likes. We're 250 odd away. If you can just hit that like button for me before you head off, I'll see you tomorrow. And again, much love to all of you. Thank you for your support. We'll talk soon.